Hey, each year, millions of Muslims from all across the world perform Hajj, the sacred pilgrimage and the fifth pillar of Islam. Hajj takes place in Mecca, in modern-day Saudi Arabia, during the holy month of Dhul Hijjah, the 12th month in the Islamic calendar. Hajj is a spiritual duty and a pillar of Islam, meaning that Hajj must be performed by every Muslim at least once in their lifetime, so long as they are financially, physically and emotionally able to do so. Going more than once during your lifetime is permitted while sincerely seeking Allah's pleasure. Hajj in Quran. And due to Allah from the people is a pilgrimage to the house, for whoever is able to find thereto a way. But whoever disbelieves, then indeed Allah is free from need of the worlds. Quran vertical bar 397. For anyone preparing to perform Hajj, it's an incredibly exciting time, but also a time of great spiritual importance. The first time going can be a once-in-a-lifetime experience for a Muslim. The Hajj is a test of patience and temperament, a spiritual, emotional and physical challenge. However, it offers Muslims the opportunity to refresh our spiritual selves, to cleanse us of our sins and to draw closer to Allah, SEWT. As Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Whoever performs Hajj for the sake of Allah and does not utter any obscene speech or do any evil deed, will go back free of sin, as his mother bore him." Hadith vertical bar Bukhari and Muslim. Hajj takes place each year from the 8th and 12th of Dhul Hijjah. Muslims use the lunar calendar, so the corresponding Gregorian date will vary year to year. This handy and comprehensive Hajj guide will help you understand the different aspects of the holy pilgrimage, from its origin to how to perform Hajj. The story of Hajj. While Hajj is something that was taught to Muslims by the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, its origin actually dates back to the teachings of another of Islam's beloved prophets, Ibrahim, a.s., which means upon him be peace, thousands of years before. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, began the Hajj in 628 CE during the month of Dhul Hijjah, and is the same Hajj that Muslims perform today. It is known today by Muslims as Baytullah, or the House of God. It plays an important part in the rites of Hajj. In fact, the Kaaba was built by Ibrahim, a.s., or Prophet Abraham, thousands of years earlier by the command of Allah, SWT. It is because of Ibrahim, a.s., that Muslims perform Hajj. Hajara, Ismail, a.s., and the well of Zamzam. Ibrahim, a.s., or Khalilullah, the friend of Allah, as he is referred to, is considered to be one of the greatest of Allah's SWT creations. His reflective nature and the soundness of his heart brought him to the revelation of one God, Allah, SWT. Ibrahim's A.'s story of prophethood is well documented in the Islamic tradition. During his prophethood, Ibrahim, A.'s, encountered several trials that serve as reminders and lessons to mankind regarding devotion to Allah, SWT, sacrifice, faith, as well as other crucial tenets of Islam. These trials include the test of Ibrahim's A.'s willingness to sacrifice his son Ishaq, as for the sake of Allah, SWT, and the test of leaving his wife Hajara and son Ismail, as, alone in the desert of Mecca. It is this test that provides the basis for Hajj. By the instruction of Allah, SWT, Ibrahim as was to leave Hajara and Ismail as in the ancient desert of Mecca. The little food and water that they had soon ran out, and Ismail as, an infant at the time, was crying of thirst. Hajara, desperately in search of water, ran between the nearby hills of Safar and Marwa in the hope of spotting someone who may be able to help. Hajara returned to find Ismail as, striking and scraping the ground with his leg in distress, when suddenly a spring burst forth from the barren desert. By the command of Allah, SWT, a source of water from deep within the earth, that is still in use today, provided Hajara and Ismail, a.s., with water. This is known as the well of Zamzam. The water source provided a means of trade for Hajara, with passing nomads exchanging food and other provisions for water. The site became prosperous for Hajara and her son, and when Ibrahim, a.s., was commanded to return to them in the desert, he was amazed to see the miracles that had unfolded for them, and the fruits of his faith in Allah, SWT. It was at the site of the well of Zamzam that Ibrahim, a.s., was commanded to build the Kaaba. Ibrahim AS and his son Ismail AS worked together to build a small stone structure called the Kaaba. It was built to mark a space for the sacred gathering of Muslims, all those who believed in the one God, Allah, SWT. The inception of Hajj, the sacred pilgrimage. As time elapsed, the site of the miracle well of Zamzam and the Kaaba would provide the means for Mecca to become a thriving and prosperous settlement. Ibrahim AS returned to the site each year to offer his pilgrimage to Allah, SWT, and years later, when Ismail AS was given his prophethood, he continued the tradition, the inception of the Hajj. However, during the thousands of years that would pass, the site that was built to commemorate the lessons of Ibrahim's ACE trial, the miracle of Allah, SWT, and most importantly the belief in one God, was taken over by pagan Arabs and the worship of idols and spirits. This now thriving and prosperous settlement grew into a city for trade and the worship of pagan gods, of which the Kaaba would eventually house. Thousands of years later, a man named Muhammad, born into the high-status Quraysh tribe of Mecca, would be given revelation and prophethood. The last of Allah's SWT messengers, Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, established Islam in the land for mankind. With this came the commandment to restore the Kaaba to its original purpose and resume Hajj.